Hello, class. So I'm going to start this class out with a little bit of philosophical preliminaries. And I've assigned for you to read Preparing the Mind for Logic by D.Q. McInerney. And it comes from this nice little book that I have. Um, Highly recommend you buy this book and read it through. It's really great. And it's called A Guide to Good Thinking. We are only going to read the first part of it in this class because this isn't a logic class. But logic lies at the foundation of the philosophical enterprise. And we're going to need to establish a few things in logic going forward. I think it'll also help you in your life, these really fundamental parts from this first section of the book. But at any rate, first, let's see what I have to say about philosophy. Philosophy is a pretty difficult subject to define. And so rather than define it, I'm going to talk a little bit about the etymology and some things that are implied by it that are backed up by the tradition, and then leave it to you to read the assignments in this class, see how it congeals into a coherent concept, philosophy. Philosophy is from the Greek, and it comes from classical Greece. It was coined by Pythagoras in 600 BC or so, and in its current sense, it was used first by Plato. And it comes from the two Greek words. One is philein, which is to love, and sophos, which is wisdom. So etymologically, according to the origin of the words in classical Greek, philosophy is the love of wisdom. First thing to note about that is that it's not wisdom. That would just be sophos. In fact, the first philosophers are often contrasted with the sophists, who were men, itinerant teachers in ancient Greece, who wandered around claiming to know. And the philosophers were those, most notably Socrates, who claimed, first and foremost, not to know anything at all. Philosophers don't know anything. They are lovers of wisdom. And if you love something, it means you don't have it or don't have enough of it. You're not satisfied with your current stock of wisdom, and you want more, to the extent that it would be proper to say that you love it and you're seeking it. Then you're a philosopher. You're a lover of wisdom. So philosophers don't claim to know much at all. Sometimes they sound like they claim to know, but they don't know. And if you push them, they're always amenable to revising their claims when you can demonstrate that they're wrong. And starting over. Philosophers are always starting over. If you read some Plato, the Platonic dialogues, the common theme. They get to an impasse and they start over. The true philosopher. The non-philosopher who thinks they know it all keeps pushing their side until they walk away. When they come to an impasse, they walk away. The philosopher begins again. Philein, sophos. Philosophoi is the Greek for philosopher. Lovers of wisdom. So departments of philosophy. As an academic discipline, it's a pretty crazy academic discipline. I mean, its subject matter is just wisdom. What does that even mean, right? Well, there are four modern divisions in academic philosophy. There's metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and logic. So you may not have heard of these words before. Let's go through them one at a time. We're going to do a little bit of metaphysics, a little bit of epistemology, kind of a lot of ethics, and very little logic in this class. So metaphysics is the theory of reality. The questions we're trying to answer in metaphysics are, what is real? What's the ultimate nature of reality? What is this? You might say. What is this anyway? Like this. What is this? It's something. It's not nothing. What is it? There's two angles you can take on this question. One leads you to theology, more or less, because a lot of people think that this question of the ultimate nature of reality leads you to God, or this sort of macro vision of all it is, looking at it from the outside in, where there's some sort of a divine creator on the outside of things. There's like a theological angle we can take on this question. What is the ultimate nature of reality? We can also take, though, a scientific view, where we go deeper and deeper into the ultimate nature of that which is present to us. Like quarks, we could say, is the ultimate nature of reality. Maybe something smaller, or there's something about their interaction, or theoretical physics on a certain level is engaging in metaphysics when they postulate they predicate certain things of reality in its most basic form, right? Like the inside versus the outside. The God's eye view from the outside is a question of metaphysics. And then there's the scientific view, microscopic, from the inside out, which is also about the ultimate nature of reality. What else to say about metaphysics? Not much. We'll do very little here. Epistemology. Episteme is just the Greek word for science or knowledge. Science is just the Latin word for knowledge, scientia, right? So epistemology is the study of knowledge or the theory of knowledge. We ask questions in epistemology such as, what is knowledge? How do we know anything? Do we know anything? What is the proper object of knowledge? What is it that we know when we know? What is our relationship to the objects of knowledge, right? Theory of knowledge. One thing I will talk about here briefly is a certain definition of knowledge, which goes back to Plato. And although philosophers totally disagree about everything, if you push them hard enough, you'll find one, at least, often many, who push back. It's fairly well established provisionally, unless you're doing epistemology and intentionally fighting this, pretty much established that the definition of knowledge is justified true belief. At least it's the best working definition for negotiating your world and taking an intro to philosophy class, right? Justified true belief. And there are three parts to this definition. First is belief. What's a belief? Well, it's the state of mind that we have about the world, right? State of mind where we're assenting to something being thus and not otherwise, right? I believe this is a Red Bull. I believe it's tasty. I believe this book is written by D.Q. McInerney. I believe I'm the professor in this class. I believe that Donald Trump is president of the United States. I believe that cheating is wrong. I believe my mother loves me. I believe that floor in this building is going to continue to hold my weight. I mean, I believe a lot of things. And the more you think about it, the more you think, you believe a lot of things. We want all our beliefs to be true, but some of them are true, and almost certainly I believe some things that I believe are not true, right? Hopefully, that my mother loves me isn't one of the ones that are not true, but I believe it. Some things I believe are true. Some things I believe are not true. Some are not. Some are the case. Some are not the case. Some things are true, but I don't believe them. Can we keep going here? Yeah, believing something doesn't make it true. You could believe something a lot, really, but its truth swings free from your belief or your feelings about it. believing something, we believe a lot of things. True. The belief has to be true if it's a candidate for knowledge in the proper sense, according to this definition. And this is the kicker, you need to have a justification. It needs to be something you believe, actually has to be true, and you have to be able to justify. You need to be justified in your belief in the truth of the true belief. Has to be belief, has to be true. You have to have good reasons. If you have all three of those, then we can say, well, you know, such and such is the case. Otherwise, well, it's an opinion.